Good morning. Day 5. We're building a startup product on YouTube. No cuts, no edits. Lots of and pauses. Had some technical difficulties yesterday. The full screen recording of what I was working on the wireframes didn't get recorded, which is a bummer. I put some screenshots in there though, and then I gave a little walkthrough at the end showing what I was working on. I got a little meter on my computer now to show me if it's freaking out. I'll try to stop and make sure that we do more breaks so that I don't lose anything. I think in combination with the technical difficulties and just not having as much time as I'd hoped to think about the project when I wasn't working on it, we're going slightly slower than I wanted to, which is like said every day in startups. That said, we're also it's only been a couple hours and we've already got most of a wireframe done for a product and a lot of the marketing messaging and personas. So that's also pretty good. I'm a consultant, right? I work with clients doing stuff like this sometimes. I also am a coach and I work with a lot of designers and help them through their process and how to get unstuck, and mostly with companies that are bigger and don't want to just sort of throw stuff together. This is a very throw it together process, but mostly with companies who need a little bit more understanding of a quote real design process. And I like my job. Some people might say, well, if you're not, moving really, really fast because you're only working on this for an hour or two in the morning, you should quit your job, man. Go 100%. Go 100% at this thing. Kill it. Kill. And there's definitely a case to be made for really dedicating yourself and your time to startups. Because if you want to do something, anything, you have to put in the time. But I just think it's nuts to go all in on a startup like this. Listen, okay, if your vibe for startups is, I'm going to have this amazing idea. I'm going to convince a bunch of rich people to give me a lot of money so that I can build that idea. And then once I get the money, I'm going to spend most of my time hiring people, managing them, talking about my idea, and then just sort of crossing my fingers and hoping and praying that those engineers build something that people like. And that's a way to do it. It's not my way to do it. I've been part of that before. Maybe it is my way to do it, but not this project's way to do it. My buddy Jonah calls this the point of the point of highest client or consultant or designer or engineer ignorance on a project. The earlier it is, the less you know what the hell this thing is. It's all just an experiment. That's all startups are, this hypothesis. We don't know what the market is. We don't know if anybody wants this thing. We're not building a product. We're just building a way to ask that question to people, really. And maybe it's more or less code, depending on who you are and what your skills are. But that's what's going on. So quit your job and go 100% at this all day, every day. Not only is it just doesn't make a lot of sense, especially if you like your job, which I do, but it also is a very egotistical approach to startups, because it means you're valuing the quality of your idea, not based off of whether or not people like it, but whether or not you had the idea or you think it's good in your own little bubble. And one cool part of business that I didn't realize before I was doing it and involved in the business world is that it's all service. You're just acting in service to other people and you're charging money. So it's not, service in some sense, but you're always having to do something for somebody else. You got to build it for other people, not yourself. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to give you anything if you just build it for yourself. And so you got to try and figure it out. So that's what it's all about, right? We're doing that. In terms of speed, I was reading these books lately. I thought it was pretty cool. About I watched a video of this guy who was doing Ironmans yesterday, and I heard this book about ultra marathoners in the mountains and other cool stuff about people who run 100 miles or hundreds of miles. It's just nuts. I heard about this woman on a podcast who just was crazy about that recently. And one thing I noticed about them is that they're going really fast. To win one of these races, you have to be going really fast for a really long time. But when they talk about the training or they talk about the pain that they're experiencing, they're always the thing that they seem to talk about, like the experience that seems to come out of those interviews, is that they just kind of keep going. They keep at it. They're just like consistently, it's an endurance race. So they're just consistently taking the next step. They're just trying to figure out how to encourage themselves and how to be like positive about doing the thing for a really long time. And my buddy Rodney said that like if you're doing that, the speed will come. Like if you work every day and you're running a lot, then you'll get faster because your body will just get faster. You can't really choose to get faster. You can only choose to like go do the workout and get comfortable in the routine. And I kind of think that there's a degree to that with building stuff too. Like, right? Like you can't just hope that you're going to be really fast one day and then just it happens. Like speed, luckily I think I'm pretty fast with a lot of these tools. That just comes from doing it a lot. And doing it a lot comes from like give myself a break and sort of objectively figuring out where we are, what we need to do next, and keeping at it day after day. Let's keep at it today. All right, I'm gonna go in to whimsical. Operator says, what is that? Shuffleboard. Where are we at? I'm gonna run my simulation here. Update that. Looks like we need to update this after all. Based off what we did the other day. So I'm just going to go through and clean some of this up, and then we'll do another import to our InVision. Hope it doesn't break the entire world. And then I think then I'm going to work on email. I want to get some email stuff done. I want to get it just basically ready to test it out. Like if somebody else were to walk through and test it. All the best parts in the paper. I try to look for words that don't actually do anything, like all and using here. The best parts of paper and markers with none of the hassle. I guess that's a word that doesn't do much. So like once you get your message, I'm just trying to densify it. Start a meeting with one click, no necessary. Yeah, we all know this copy needs some love. All right, into the product, log in, sign up. Yeah, leave it for now. A checklist is like the classic onboarding thing to have. So I'm just going to say, create your account. Try running a meeting. Make a new template. Invite your team. Upgrade to Pro or something. And they already did this one. There we go. A little encouragement. So, you know, you're probably getting the hang of this. Like, I'm just going doing a pass every day, another pass through the whole experience a little bit. What one on the sprint? We need more of one of these. All right, this has got to go. This big button thing here. It's just, it's telling me we got to do something. So this is Becky working in this view. This is her way to vote because everybody else has their phones. So I'm going to say she just gets these little guys. Much more de-emphasized because their primary, the most common, although this is Becky's way to vote, most people are going to be seeing this as their summary of what's happening. So I want to just make it much more subtle. Maybe that's better. That's kind of more related. These all large? They better be. Cool. I think just showing that these are coming in is a good idea. There's only 2 that came in. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more. We'll figure that out later. You know, really this should just say the same thing, welcome. Yeah, I think we know this now. I'm tempted to move these up here for like niceness or something, but I want them to be down near people's thumbs. It'd be cool to get a thumbnail of these images eventually, some like image representing what we're about to do, but let's worry about that later. I think some iconography here might be called for. Let's look at images. I think I tried to do this yesterday. Look, if you type in fun, you get a casket. Probably funeral. Let's ignore this for now. Okay. This situation, I also want to change. Just not digging it. Okay. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more answers than just these, so I wonder if we need another divider here. Or just some spacing. Why use a divider when a little padding will do the trick? Okay. So I want to do a little bit of a pricing page real quick. Just to get it in here. I mean, this is like so speculative. It's really not much of a point to it. But again, pricing for SaaS is just such like a, I mean, obviously it's important, but it's also just like not rocket science. You just put a couple columns here. and then you put a big cost. Let's say it's $49, because we need at least that much, and $99. I'm just making this up. I want to get people annual if I can, because that way there's a lot less overhead for me, which is a specific concern for somebody who doesn't have any employees. Unlimited meetings, 2 facilitators. This word. I spelled it right? Oh my God. That's amazing. Great. Unlimited meetings, 2 facilitators. We're just going to make up some random name for this, like Pro. I don't know. Whatever. Like silver and gold. That needs work. We'll fix it later. We can say the goal is recommended or most popular if it really is the case, but like, why bother? Just like, give it to me straight, Doc. What am I getting? Silver, gold, unlimited meetings, unlimited facilitators. This will definitely change. Since we don't have a lot of difference here, maybe just we'll make this even. Sometimes you try to emphasize the one that you want them to sign up for, but I don't know. Is that really going to break the bank or make your, I don't know, insert an analogy here. Hey, look, it's a pricing page. Pricing. Simple pricing. There's, you know what, like on pricing, I want to tell people why they should pay me this money. You know, like, why should you pay me any money for this at all? And the answer is not because I worked really hard on it. The answer is because it's useful for you. So like, smooth team, collaborate, you know, beautiful brainstorm meetings are priceless. Don't sue me, MasterCard. I guess that's kind of a MasterCard thing. We got some kind of tone going on there. We'll figure it out later. Oof. Spacing, sometimes you need to come back later and look at it. This is probably still bad. You notice how much, like, isn't it crazy what percentage of the time when you're designing something that's bad? You know, because like, as soon as it's good, then you're just going to stop designing it. So you don't design good things very much of the time. You're mostly designing stuff that's bad. I think it's very important for designers to like have good taste and know when something is good. It's also kind of important for them to be able to live in a world of just crap, like of all the crap that they're building all the time, because it's always bad until it's suddenly not, usually. I mean, hopefully you get to good and then you get pushed to great, but in scrappy world, not always the case. All right. I'm going to call this ready for another export. Hold on to your butts. This might get tricky. Export, content only, download. Well, that freaked out my thing a little bit. All right, InVision. Hopefully my screen is still recording. If it's not, no biggie. Oh, InVision's broken. If it's not recording, no biggie, because I'll stop this recording and start it again before we hook it up. Okay, I'm back. I didn't really miss anything. I just dragged the files that I exported from Whimsical into InVision. That's what broke my screen recording last time, so I didn't want to risk it doing it live. Let's go in and see what we got. Google Workshop Tool search. Seems cool. Let's try it out. Ooh, nice. Pricing. Ooh, gotta fix our pricing here. This is going to log in. This is going to sign up. On the homepage, I can see pricing. Well, that seems reasonable. And sign up. Log in. Yep, log in with Google. Cool. Okay, I've already gotten something started. I've already created my account. I'm gonna try running a meeting. Ooh, this should maybe go to meeting. No, you don't know which meeting you're running. Can't do it. This will go to a new template, though. Invite your team will go to settings, team, and this will go to settings billing. Might as well just get this thing going. Shared. So now you got a bunch of options of things you can do right here. Let's see, okay, I want to play around teams, meetings, I see a bunch of meetings, cool. I mean, this could be polished up a little bit visually, obviously. Templates. Shuffleboard home takes me back to templates. Go to my settings. Look, it's all here. All right, what if I want to, oh yeah, this was cool. I don't know. Look at all this useful stuff. What if I want to play one? Cool. I want to get rid of you eventually. I like how, you know, no matter what, I can see who's in the meeting and what to do next. What went well this sprint? Okay, so I'm liking it. I think this is pretty good. We're getting there. The one thing we haven't really played with actually is the experience of getting the invite. So let's say you go to this screen and then you actually get, I'm gonna put a secret hotspot here. Only I know about this, but that's okay for now. Usually, sometimes I'll put like some pink text that says like, click here to do secret thing. I'm just gonna know to click above the people to go to my mobile participant view. So let's say I walk into a room and this is on the wall. This is on like a TV in my meeting room. I got invited to go to a meeting. I'm Jason. Becky invited me to a retrospective. I'm not really sure what a retrospective is. I get in there. She's closed the screen box and it says, Sprint Retrospective Welcome, hosted by Becky, powered by Shuffleboard. Go to this website on your phone or computer. Okay, cool, we'll pull it up. And then what do I get? Oh crap, did that not work? Where's that hot link? Well, let's just say I know that I'm going to go here. Okay, so this is supposed to be a phone. So I've got my phone, Sprint Retro. Cool, okay. Join, log in with Google. Woohoo, thanks for joining. Sit tight, but we'll get things started in a minute. All right. Hey, Bob, how about this weather? I know, it's crazy. Hey everybody, I'm Becky, we're running this meeting. Obviously you can see we're trying some new, a new tool called Shuffleboard, so take your time, don't worry about anything to do with the app until I say so. I want to ask you guys, you know, what went well this sprint? Take some time, you have X amount of time, just throw some ideas down, no bad ideas. Maybe we go over the sprint retrospective prime directive, I believe is a thing that I really like that Becky did. So now I'm thinking like, we need to help Becky run this meeting for sure. And we also might need a way to show content besides just the shuffleboard content. I don't want this to turn into Google Slides, but maybe that's a thing. So think about that. Write this down. Becky help. And non-prompt content. I put it into my whimsical, but I don't want to run them at the same time. Okay, what was it? Okay, this is cool. I can add some stuff. Might be nice to, as I go, I get some encouragement. All right, vote on your favorite answers. Okay, great. So I think, let's go back to whimsical. Whimsical. This is a good layout for a bunch of wireframes, but it doesn't really represent the journey that we're going through super well. Like, when I think about a journey, I think about like, okay, where is this person starting? What do they know before you ever enter the picture? That's sort of what this Becky thing looks like here. And what is the end goal? What do we want them to get to? I think that's this, kind of. But really, it's sharing this with everybody else and then having some great result come from this. Usually the end goal is also not really about you. Like, it's not, we have this page in the app. The end goal is, what is the reason we're doing this? The reason is that we want to have like some great sprint thing and then like have some great project that we kick off, and it's really good because we talked about it early on really well. So having a page that does this is sort of okay. But I want to build another layer. This is the email layer. I think it's one of the last things we had to do. Oh yeah, we did pricing. Now we're gonna do email. So our to-dos is about done. I want to think about what we can do to send folks emails throughout this process. You know, selfishly, if you're running a business, there's always this aspect of wanting to continue to engage them, to remind them to use the product, to come back and keep trying it. But if you just send emails that are just saying like, hey, you should use this thing, they already know about you, that's not helping. And since they can unsubscribe, they're going to, and I do constantly. So I want to send them only emails that are going to actually benefit them. And then, you know, bonus if they help me get, you know, on their radar a little bit. But that's all I want to do. Oops. Time out. Oh, I know why it's doing that. It thinks this page is really long. I think emails, you know, you can always make really fancy emails, but like the simplest emails, and sometimes the best converting emails, so converting isn't people actually click on them and read them and do what you're asking them to do, are just plain emails from like a human being. So I'm just gonna say like, hey Becky, writing this as if I was actually writing to Becky. Thanks so much for trying out Shuffleboard. What would you say to Becky? Like, write how you talk. What would you say to Becky when she signs up? If you were actually talking to her as a person, not if you were building a marketing drip campaign. Like, what would you say to her if you were like if I was actually emailing somebody like Becky to say thanks for signing up for my service? I'd probably want to be pretty short, and I'd probably want to be pretty helpful. So I'm going to say, hey, Becky, thanks for so much for trying to help. Let me know if you have any questions, feedback. I'd love to hear from you. Here are some videos. Here are some getting started tips. How to create a meeting. Tips for running a brainstorm with meeting. How to create a meeting in Shuffleboard. Sending meeting, what meeting summaries look like. Hey, I asked for a referral program from Whimsical. Cute. Thanks. Subject. Getting started with Shuffleboard just sounds like everybody else's email. It's kind of accurate, but like, can I say something else? Shuffleboard. A couple Shuffleboard tips. Because that's what I am giving it. That's what really is going on here, you know? Like, these are links. I'm just trying to show that they're links. Hopefully not used, but it's gotta be there. I think I would enjoy getting a simple email like this when I sign up for a service. Just because it helps me get oriented and I know I can worry about it later. Sometimes when I sign up, there's like a lot going on. I might not have time to spend an hour figuring out everything about how this works and watching all the videos. So something useful that just says, hey, do this. 20% off, like, no, I don't care about that. I'm not even worried. I don't even know if I like you. You know what? One of the things that I feel like people, like this, it doesn't matter as much for this because it's going to happen right after you sign up, within a few minutes. But one thing that like I think people forget, like I get emails all the time from companies and they're like, hey, just want to let you know we're joining this other company. And I don't, the company you're emailing me from, I don't even remember signing up for that. I signed up for like 2 years ago and they're like, I just want to tell all our users, I'm not one of your users. I just randomly put my email in a box 2 years ago, and now we're like best friend PayPals or pen pals. So, you know, context is so important with these emails. Like, you're sending them to human beings. You're not just cranking out junk mail, hopefully. Okay. What are these other points when you sign up? Like, what are the points when you really want to emphasize and talk to somebody? There's like, not all these moments are created equal. When you first sign up, your first impression, that's a really important moment. we're going to send you an email then. What's another really important moment for you? Well, when you pay, if you buy this thing, we're going to send you an email for sure, right? It says, subscribe email. You're signed up for Shuffleboard. Hey Becky, just wanted to say thanks for signing up for upgrading your Shuffleboard account. I've worked really hard on this project. It really means a lot that you're getting value, that you're using it. I mean, they are using it at this point because they just paid for it. So hopefully, at this point, we can probably safely assume that there's something happening here. As always, don't hesitate to reach out with questions, feedback, nonsense. I'd really love to hear from you. I'd really love to hear from them at this point because it's my customer. This is an important person in my life. Like, you know, this is a big deal. Okay, so that's a good one, I think. Payment, first sign up, those are both useful. Those are sort of like the very beginning, the first impression is the very beginning. At the very end is like the payment, and then there's always going to be future payments because it's a recurring service. There's going to be referrals. Maybe I'll reach out with new features. That would be a really good idea. Instead of spamming them with like ask to get upsell, like one of my companies I work with paid for, a product I paid for right now is just constantly doing. Just tell me when the new features are coming out. But there's a thing in the middle we're missing between first impression and purchase. That thing when you first get value out of it, the thing when you're first using it and you're liking it and you're like, yeah, this is what I need. And there's two big things here. Like we've already given her Becky an email to like help her run a meeting. I think we can do more there, but that could be something we work on forever. There's two more emails I want to send, I think. I want to send an email to Becky when this thing worked. What are we calling her? Share group. I'll just say facilitator. I can't believe that's how you spell that word. I can't believe there's not more L's. I can't believe there's not an S. It's the way the cookie crumbles. Okay, facilitator. Meeting complete email facilitator. And meeting complete email for Jason. Basically what I want to do with Jason is just say like, hey, Becky made you do this whole thing recently, like she made you do a whole thing. And I want to know if you like that thing, because if you don't like it, you're going to tell Becky, hey, I didn't like it. And then Becky's not going to want to upgrade and the tool's not going to be useful. So I want to make sure everybody's happy. You know, this person isn't necessarily going to be somebody who's going to be running meetings. Most of these people are not going to upgrade to Shuffleboard. They're just going to exist in an organization where Shuffleboard is something that maybe people use sometimes. So I just want to get some feedback. Oh, by the way, there are a bunch of engineers. So like, one thing I should probably make is everybody's always looking for differentiators, not things that are just making you good, your brand good, but things that make your brand different. And one of the differentiators for Shuffleboard is that I'm building the whole thing on YouTube, and that's crazy. So anticipating these people being clients who are entrepreneurs often, and engineers and designers who are participating in retrospectives, they're probably going to be interested in this. So I'm just going to say, hey, by the way, I built Shuffle. I'm building live on YouTube. Ish on YouTube. Now, is this going to embarrass Becky, in bigger organizations that, hey, your boss just ran this meeting, and then after the meeting, I tell everybody who was in the meeting, like, hey, by the way, your boss just ran some one-person show and is running your company off this. So maybe that would be a little strange. So what if we do it this way? P.S. You can learn Bootstrap, or Shuffleboard is bootstrapped. Shuffleboard. Subtle. That's better. I'm going to say, what did I just do? What? Give Becky. So I want to get feedback from both about Shuffleboard and Becky. Because they don't care about me. I'm just a person out in the world. They do care about Becky because they work with Becky and they probably like Becky. And if they don't like Becky, they definitely want to give her some feedback. And this is like a chance. And this can go to a form maybe that just says like type form or whatever, like some I could build it myself. It could be a Google form. And it's just like Shuffleboard feedback. Is it concerning that I can't type the name of my own product? Maybe a little bit. And this is going to be a website, so I guess I should make this a window or something. Real quick, short and sweet. It's going to be a meta retro about the retro. What did Becky do well? Now, I could also ask, what did Becky not do well? And that might be a cool feature to ask, so if Becky wants to get anonymous feedback about her meeting skills. But even though it would be cool, wouldn't it be cool if are kind of the most dangerous words in startup. Did we have in this list Becky really, really looking for feedback from her team about what she does wrong in meetings? No. She doesn't want that. So let's not give it to her. But she probably does want some encouragement. So I'm going to say, what did Becky do well? What did you like? Did you like shuffleboard? Would you recommend it to a friend? Asking for a recommendation or asking if somebody would recommend it is kind of a sneaky way of saying, also, would you please recommend it to other people? And then, maybe most importantly, what didn't you like about shuffleboard? Share feedback. Hey, look, we're getting there. Just in case they really want to go to the home screen. But I don't want this to be part of the app or anything. I just want this to be like something they deal with sometimes from an email and then it's done. I don't want them distracted. I want them doing it. All right, cool. There's another email I want to get to that I think is really important. Just making sure we have enough time. The results. I mean, we have to work in the facilitator one here, which I guess is basically the same thing. What a dumb email headline. That's okay. Okay, shuffleboard. So, interesting things from your first shuffleboard meeting highlights. Highlights. What do we want to say to Becky here? You did it. Great job, Homestar. Email. All right, Becky, you did it. Congrats on running your first shuffleboard meeting. I'd love to hear how it went for you. Short questionnaire. The world knows I can't spell. This is terrible. Here. The tone I'm trying to strike here is, like friendly office mate. Like, here's the link, here's what to do, but, we're buds. That's going to be the same probably. More importantly, you got some great feedback from your team. about your meeting. Let's make this girl Joe. Karl Lagerfeld. All right. Now, we know that these are actual pieces of feedback we got because we asked for them here. So this is going to come a little later. She can always get to the meeting, we know, in the app. Here's you asked 45 questions, 5 questions. And 5 questions got 48 responses and over in 55 minutes. Here's a summary of all the responses, popular ones. Sort of by popularity. Attached. PDF attached. Maybe this should be up top. No big fancy logos, no big fancy anything, just like an email. Aw, yeah. So now imagine how Becky's really gonna flow through this. She's interested in maybe figuring out how to like fix meetings. She hears about shuffleboard, she Googles it, she gets here, collaborative superpowers, try it for yourself, okay. Yeah, I'll create an account. I do this all the time. Let's do this. Create the big purple play button. Okay. She plays it. She sees a test of it. She's like, oh, this could be fun. Then she gets an email that says, hey, Becky, thanks so much for trying out shuffleboard. Here's some getting started tip. Tips for running a brainstorm meeting. You know what? Screw this stuff. This is the most important thing we need. This is the thing that's going to get her over the hump. This is what's important. Let's not distract her. Let's get her like focused on the thing that matters to her right now. Top tip sounds weird. Here are my... We made it shorter. That's always good. So she checks it out. She checks out these tips. Maybe she gets to like a blog post. You notice that user experiences cross multiple platforms, right? Like you can't just assume that this is going to be all like an app thing. Like people experience this a lot of different ways. So the call to action here is not sign up because she's already signed up. So it's like create your first meeting template. The shuffleboard blog, something like that. It's not a form anymore. Hopefully this is still recording. Number one, send the agenda in advance. You can attach the shuffleboard link when you create an event invite. This is some stuff that other people made. I can link to that. Lorem ipsum. Forgive me. Keep the energy up. Make room for everyone to contribute. Shuffleboard does this, but you can help. Shuffleboard helps, but you can do X, Y, Z. Keep the energy up, and then make sure you document so it doesn't get lost. Now you'll notice these are suspiciously similar to the value propositions that we're selling this tool for on the website. But those are suspiciously similar to the problems that this person actually has. So we're not just dumping a bunch of random marketing material on somebody because we think this is a real person who's actually dealing with this stuff, and we built the product around that pain point. So this isn't just some marketing BS, it's like actually helping somebody run better meetings. I genuinely believe we need better meetings. If that's not clear, by the way, like, this is a real problem. I'm not just like trying to shoehorn this thing. Like, I want to use this tool. This is important. So, like, that's way better. We got a shuffleboard blog. We're giving them tips. So, all right, back to Becky's experience. She has this problem. She sees something. It seems to resonate with her. She clicks sign up just to try it out. Create your account. She goes through. She sees that you can run these things. It seems cool. She goes, gets an email later. Here's some tips. She clicks it. She feels like she's got everything she needs. How about this? You can do this. I believe in you. Copy needs some work. But the gist of it is there, right? Like, you can do this. I think this is something that is like, whoops. I am bothering the shit out of these guys with feature requests, people. I'm so sorry, but I'm also not. How to create a cloud. So she gets his email setting her up with everything she needs. She's like, it's only 5 things long. Everything they send me is pretty short. The email's short, the website's short, the app is small. Maybe this isn't that hard. I saw a cool video. I'm gonna try this. So she runs a meeting with one of our pre-sampled things, or maybe she makes her own. It goes really well. One of her email, like, some people in the meeting get a little like thing, and people say like, oh, shuffleboard seems cool. Yeah, it was really easy and yada, yada, yada. Then the next day she gets to work, and what happens? Hey, Becky, congrats on running, the tone is off here, I think. Congrats on running your first shuffleboard meeting. I'd love to hear how it went for you. Short questionnaire here. You asked 5 questions. You asked 5 questions and got 48 responses in 55 minutes. Here's a summary of all the responses, sorted by popularity. PDF attached. I'm going to pretend this is a PDF. Summary. More importantly, you got some great feedback from your team about your meeting. Becky's killing it. She really made everybody feel heard. Go, Becky. Love the format. Love the results. Excited to build this thing. Carl said that. As always, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. This person didn't waste my time at all. I mean, the app didn't waste my time at all. They just figured out what my problem was, assuming, like, disclaimer, assuming this is actually a problem that anybody has besides just me. They built something that solves it. I did it. It was scary. They congratulated me, and my team, I got positive feedback? What? I'm not saying it's perfect, but the flow here, like the emotion, the narrative here is like making sense, I think. That's pretty good. Like this is like the user experience stuff. So then when she wants to do it again, she loves it. She goes in. There's a limit. We have to, to do add limits. How about this right here? Is that a thing? The meeting, is that how you'd bill it? No idea. So that she goes in, she pays, we're good. No thing in my mouth. This is exciting. This is getting there, I think. I'm glad we got through the email. I'm glad we got through the settings, the pricing a little bit. I've been like meaning to add more things here because this just doesn't make sense. Just gonna do a little bit of cleanup. Yeah. Yada yada. There's probably better ways to do stupid text, but I don't care. And let's just pretend that we're the second result. For a little bit of realism, still pretty generous. Okay, so, a lot of these emails don't really make super sense for, blog post, meeting tips. They don't really make sense for our InVision clickable thing, because although this is sort of interactive and it does happen over time, the prototyping tools are just really not they're just not ideal for that. Participant feedback form. So I'm not really going to bother to hook them up. Plus, I kind of wasted enough time in InVision already in the past hour or two trying to get this thing up and running, and it's been so buggy that I kind of want to stay out of it now that I've got it working and it's like feeling right. There are more illustrations to figure out here. By the way, emoji are just a great substitute for real illustrations if you just want to throw something in. There's interactions to figure out. There's definitely a lot of copy to go. But, there are enough details here where I can see the picture of how this thing will work. I think the emails really help me get the tone. It's not totally complete. Like, there's no reset password field, right? These, like, what is this picture even going to be? Are we even going to have a picture? Maybe not. But, if I'm thinking about sending this to a boss, that thing I mentioned before, like, is this something I would send to a boss or a colleague to approve? It's not something I would have them approve completely, because I don't think that's appropriate for this stage of the project. But this is something I would send to somebody in the right format, especially if I could walk through them and say, hey, can I get your feedback on this? You know, get picky, nitpick this thing, and give me some feedback about what's working and what's not. I could show it to somebody and get some good thoughts, and I can see myself later what's going on. And you know, if your thing's at the point where like you say, hey, I've got this idea, and they're like, oh, what's the idea? And you say, well, I'd rather show you. And then you show them a prototype, and it's full of mistakes, and they point out the mistakes, and you're like, yeah, but no, ignore that. Like, what? How about the idea? If you're gonna show them something, it's got to be worth their time. It has to be good enough that their you know, feedback is like useful and not stuff you just already knew. There's plenty of things I already know we want to fix here. You know, but at this point, I do kind of feel like it's probably getting to be the time to test it out in the world. I was thinking about this the other day, like, what is testing? What is like validating an app? This word for validation. It's essentially market research. Now, if you're familiar with like standard market research, the methodologies are going to be super different. But you know what? Like, it's still market research. Essentially, you're researching whether this thing is a fit for the market. It's not like cool best friends research, and it's not just having conversations. It's real research, and it's like not for just anybody. It's to see, like, is this group of people with shared interests and shared communication actually, you know, finding value from this thing that I built. So, you know, that maybe we'll have an opportunity to do that soon. Stay tuned. Maybe that'll be something we do as we build a little bit, because it'll be hard to test this completely. It's so interactive, unlike a website piece of content that's static. You know, it's time to start to test whether or not this is something that might be useful for people in small little ways. You know, it's not even the usability. It's just like, is this idea useful? And if they're confused about what I'm even talking about, I can show them this. Okay, what else was I planning to do today? I think I'm overall pretty happy with this stuff. I think it's looking pretty good. Hopefully no technical difficulties. Oh my God, if this screen recording is broken, I'm gonna be so mad. Still don't really love this. Maybe we'll give her another option. Change my mind on those. No, it's not a sample. It's just built in. Yeah, no sample. Maybe it is a sample, I don't know. The headings here need some work. There's some consistency, weirdness. I'm almost tempted to wonder if these templates should just be like, if there should just be one page, you know, where it just says like, let's just try it out real quick. The getting started stuff is all the same. No header, no nothing. Guess what? None of that, because there's no longer even 2 pages. So these are just here. Ooh, maybe. You could have like just like a bunch of blocks up top to emphasize these. Sorry, I did it. Okay. What do you think about that? I'm going to give it a solid maybe. Figure it out later. Meetings, templates, plus meetings, alternative. Okay, guys. There's your wireframe. There's your lo-fi prototype. It's coming together. I think it's looking pretty good. I keep wrapping up and then I keep like tweaking little things at the end. So I think I'm actually done for now. I do have to get to some other work. So I'm going to put this aside for a while and rest up this weekend. Yeah. Cool. See you later.